Okay. Today I kind of wanted to speak on something a little different, I guess. In a way, I think it could circle back to me, but it's not primarily about me. I was watching a lot of clips of like the streamer university auditions and how folks was like lining up to like get auditions with Kai and stuff. And when I initially saw it, I thought it was really cool because, like, I mean, I know the first time he did it, there was like a lot of people who benefited from it, and then of course there's the people who were just there to be there. But this time I feel like it was different, and the reason I say that is because I feel like people went there because they saw what happened the first time. And honestly, I thought Streamer University was like a one-time thing. I didn't think it was going to come back again. But the way that streaming is like becoming more and more popular makes sense too. I'm trying to frame myself more. I'm in the cut. It keeps like falling, guys. I'm sorry. But I was thinking I was just seeing a lot of reports on how many people were there. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh damn, like, so a lot of people want to be a streamer. I think that's cool, and I'm glad that they got the opportunity. But then obviously in that quadrant is going to be a bunch of people who are just there because a bunch of other people are there. And that just kind of, it's like a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, I'm in the area, I might as well go. You never posted any content, but you're still going to go. And it made me think a lot about how, bro, so my setup just broke. It wasn't a setup, but it was like my phone holder just popped off. So we got to improvise today. But back to my point, I was thinking about how a lot of people are willing to essentially kind of make a fool of themselves for the sake of attention, like just for the sake of having an eye on them. Like, even if it's, how do I say this? Like, even it's for the person that's supposed to be entertaining them. Like, does that make sense? Like, this person is the entertainer, but you're so focused on just getting like a look in your direction from this person that you become kind of not a fool, but you try to be the entertainer for the entertainer. And I feel like a lot of people, especially down there, I'm not sure if it was in New York or Atlanta. I saw things about both, so I'm not really sure how that's working. But both of the ones I saw were packed, like flooding with people. And you knew half of those people never posted any content. Like, they said they were streamers, they said that, but I don't think it ever actually showed. And I think it just led me to think, like, how, like, at what point do you turn into the jester, performing for the jester? You know what I'm saying? Because the jester is the one that's like supposed to make you laugh. The jester is supposed to be the one that's keeping you entertained and like in good spirits. But like, I feel like this kind of shows where people are as like a whole, as like a little group. And because a lot of them were very copy and paste. A lot of them were just doing the same thing, and it was nothing substantial. And it led me to think, like, how can you be authentic with something that is so saturated? You know, like, what can you do differently that has not already been done without going to such an extreme place? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, there's people out there that do normal streaming, video games, or just IRL streams, and they're just very, you know, they're very calm, cordial, collected. Then you got the ones that go out of their way to be a nuisance, and whether good press or bad press, you're going to see the ones that are more or less a nuisance outside, you know? And people are seeing that, and it's like, well, I know it works, and it doesn't work. It works for the moment, sure, but it's nothing long term. It's nothing substantial to gain from that type of content, you know? Like, and this is kind of where I went back to like a few videos back, how a lot more hate is fed on than positivity, and more or less like something you can take from like viewing this content. And I kind of wanted to be that difference, because, you know, I follow a lot of entertainers that I watch just to simply have a good laugh, But then sometimes that does, I mean, for me at least, it doesn't always hit that way. Like, I'm watching it, but it's not always hitting because I'm constantly watching something that's supposed to make me laugh. I'm never watching anything that's like informative or like giving something back to me after I give my time to it. And a lot of that thought came from watching those people at Streaming University. I saw this dude who was actually a streamer going around interviewing other folks, like asking them like, how long you been streaming? And a lot of them said the same thing. I've never streamed before. I just want to start streaming, so I went to streaming, or I'm auditioning for Streamer University. Like, how do you not have the only prerequisite of this place, but you say you want to be a streamer? All you need to do is post. Like, if you post at least once, I mean, most of them post at least once, but like I'm talking like on a consistent schedule. Like, you have content to show, you have things to show for what you're claiming to be. And when people just are there just because they see a bunch of other people there, in my opinion, think it kind of, I don't want to call anybody a fool, but you are not using that opportunity in the best way. And in a way, I see that as being a fool. And granted, we're all human. If we, not everybody, but a lot of people are very much like influential by groups, by numbers. So if they see hella people going to this, they're like, it's either FOMO or I want to be a part of some. So it's really just FOMO, pretty much. That's all. I'm about to say two things, but I was about to say the same thing twice. Anyway, yeah, just let me to ask, like, when is it ever worth it to like make a fool of yourself just for the sake of attention? And it's never. I like it, like reminded me that watching that, because it wasn't even a line, it was just a crowd of people, bro. It was like just it was like a mosh pit in there, and I was just like watching it, and it just didn't, I couldn't wrap my head around the logic of like going to this place, investing your time, energy, money into this just to essentially not have anything to show for it. Like, sure, you have the memory, but did you take anything from it? Did you actually gain something from this opportunity? Or was it something you just kind of saw as a trend in the moment? Because let's be honest, streaming is probably the most profitable way to make money right now. Like, if you're really into it, it's probably one of the most mainstream ways of entertainment, and or the most, what am I talking about? And of course, that's going to leave a lot of people wanting to be a streamer. Why wouldn't you want to be a streamer? If I could not sit around, but if I could like essentially just live my life and people are paying me to watch me live my life, why wouldn't I? Like, you know, but there's also a lot to that. Like, I mean, Kai makes it clear, Your Rage makes, I don't watch none of these dudes, but they make it very clear streaming is not always just, it's still work. You know, it's still work. You never want to clock in every day, no matter how much you love your job, no matter how good the money is, you're going to get tired of clocking in every day. That's just the way of life, you know. If we could wake up and just not work, sure, everybody would do that. No, I don't think anybody would willingly want to work unless they felt like they couldn't do anything else. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just truly wanted to speak on that. I was watching this creator called Omeezy, and he was talking about how catastrophic it kind of became to the point that it had to be shut down. And it just it made me think on how interesting it is when enough people like this thing, it can be so influential. It can just change everything. Like, there's truly power to numbers. But what if those powers truly like relied on themselves too? Like, because I feel like a lot of them people are scared to not be part of those bigger groups, those bigger numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're simply there because the numbers are there. Like, the amount of people, the density of people are there. So they're like, this is where I belong, in a sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. I just was seeing a lot of content on Streamer University, and it just made me want to talk about it on a more, you know, philosophical level, honestly, because it's interesting to see so many people running to such a fake goal. Because I'm not trying to be rude about it, but it's not just kids doing it. It would be different if it was just kids, because kids are kids. No, we're talking about grown adults, like my age, your age, possibly, and they're there just to be there. And it shows a true lack of direction. And I feel like the content that's being pushed nowadays is feeding on that, or is like reinforcing that, is what I meant to say. Because like, I'm not trying to call no streamer out, because at the end of the day, they're entertainers and nothing more. But for what they show and what they do, a lot of it is a degenerate behavior. It's being a nuisance. Like, the stuff that goes viral and shows like true press, like it's always someone just being a dick, and people see that and they're like, oh, this is the way to be. This is the way to be. Like, if this person's doing it, like, let's just use Kai. I'm not saying Kai, but for example, if someone saw Kai doing XYZ, just being a dumbass, they're gonna be like, well, this is okay because it's Kai doing it. They look up to this person, so naturally they're gonna, if they see this person doing this act, they could easily justify their behavior because they seen Kai doing it. Not saying Kai specifically, but you get what I'm saying. And it just led me to show how much the entertainer can have the influence, have the power over the people that's supposed to be entertained by it. Entertainment is just that. You come to laugh, you leave. You don't allow it to consume you in a way that you feel like you have to mimic the behavior and entertain the jester himself, you know? No. Because even when he's doing those streamer auditions, even when he's doing all that shit for Streamer U, it's still just content. I'm not there. So in my eyes, this is really just entertainment. Now, if you're a streamer, a real streamer who's out here grinding every day, you know, streaming at least 4 hours a day, that's different, because you're working towards a goal. You have a goal set and you're working in that direction. That wasn't the case for everybody. And I just saw that. I saw like a lot of people in a spot who were just simply there to be there. And that's scary, because it made me just think on how much we can just do things just because we have a certain amount of people doing it. Like, if a certain amount of people did a certain amount of things, I wonder what type of stuff will we get away with. And I mean, I'm not trying to bring in politics, but y'all know what's been shared. Y'all know what's been leaked. It's like, and even still, with the amount of names being put out there, it wasn't really nothing done about it. We just kind of like, well, that happened and we moved on. And it's hard to wrap your head around it, because it seems like people only care if enough people care. It's never just because they care themselves. And that's kind of scary to think that's the type of society we live in. But then again, we lived in that society for a really long time. Like, if the numbers are matching with your belief or your value, then it's right, or this is the way to go. It's not necessarily like, if you believe it's right, then it's right. And that's scary, because it's taken away from true authenticity. Because how many people at that place truly wanted to be a streamer before Streamer University was even the thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, because there were folks I knew personally who were streaming way before streaming was like mainstream. Like, I remember watching some of my homies streams on YouTube and stuff, playing Madden, and he was just sitting there talking about BS, and it was funny, it was cool. He don't stream no more, but it's like, that's what I mean. It's like, you already have that drive, you already have that want, that urge. And I'm not saying you can't come to have that, but I think before you start investing time and energy into this thing, into this place, knowing you don't have nothing to show this place for what you want to be, but you're still there because everyone else is there, that shows a lack of direction with yourself. And I could use myself as an example. Like, all right, high school, I was very much in a little junkie phase, as I like to tell people. I was doing a lot of shit, and it was simply because I saw other homies doing it. I saw other homies doing it. I was hearing it in my songs. I was literally just allowing people and what I was taking in to influence what I was doing. And it wasn't because, no, I wanted to do it. But looking back, I know that the only reason I went to do those things was because of what I was listening to, what I was consuming, and who I was surrounding myself with. So when I got out of that, and, you know, I still do listen to my music sometimes here and there, but I'm not listening to it with the same in the same way, because at the end of the day, this is entertainment. This is not a way to live. This is not my life. I really do like this person's music, but I'm not this person. You know, this person is wealthy. They're able to live this life and live a sustainable life. I'm not. And you have to be able to draw that line. Like, it's cool to fantasize. It's cool to be like, damn, imagine just waking up and you're able to just live your life, and people are watching you live your life, paying you to live your life, and like, that's it. That's amazing. That's cool. Like, they're paying you to like collab with other folks. They're paying, like, people are tuning in just because of what you have to offer. That's cool. However, that's not everybody's case, and that's okay. But a lot of people, especially with how popular it is becoming, they want that. They're chasing that high, but unfortunately, that's a high they may never get because they don't truly want that. You know, they just want the satisfaction of it. They want what comes with it. They don't want the work. They don't want that. And it kind of just makes them look a little foolish. And I hate to use the word foolish because I've definitely had my moments where I was acting foolish. But I feel like, you know, it does, if you're able to see it, that's a good sign. It shows where you're at with yourself. And it's not to say I'm better, they're below me. No, not that at all, because I could have been right there with them, in all honesty. But it's about just noticing. And I noticed that. And it was very interesting because so many people were just there to be there. There just to take up space. Can you imagine that? Like, imagine you've been working your ass off. You've been working your ass off. And then the person in front of you is talking about how they might post their first video today, standing in line, waiting to get admitted to Streaming University or waiting to audition. You see how that works? And you see how twisted and backwards that is? But because everyone else is there, they don't want to miss out. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be something at all. However, I do think it's a problem when you are only there because you see 100 or 200 other people there. It truly shows that you may be doing this. You got to ask yourself, would I be doing this if there were only 3 people here? You know, like, would I still want to be here, or would I just not even pay attention to it? And it's probably the latter, like, be honest. But it's just like, ask yourself, like, what do you want? Like, what do you truly want from this? Like, do you think it's worth being the jester to the jester just to be forgotten a few seconds later? Like, I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, this entertainer, while they do have a certain level of influence, they're just a person. That's it. They're a person with a lot of money and a lot of influence. But it doesn't change the fact that they are just a person. And a lot of people are just treating them like something more than that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, we all have those people we look up to and idolize. But just make sure you aren't making a fool just for the sake of attention. Like, that's terrible, honestly. Like, there's nothing sustainable about that. You're just getting a target on your head, and not in a good way, you know? Like, you may make profit, you may get some eyes, you may get some attention, but you gotta ask yourself, like, is the message I'm sending out there what I want to be traced back to me in the future? You know, when you are matured and you're out of this presence, you got to think long term. And I know, bro, when I was being told you got to think long term, I was not thinking long term. I didn't care how many people were telling me that. I was just doing what I was doing, whether it was the good thing or the wrong thing. I was just doing what I was doing. And you just take your time. Take your time and ask yourself, truly, am I doing this because other people are here, or am I doing this because I want to be here? So bro, it just really sucks, because I feel like, honestly, content creation in general has truly been kind of butchered. Like, and it's another reason why I wanted to start content creation, because I felt like there was no, like, it's very rare to find true value in content nowadays, like something to take from it. And when I make these videos, I just want y'all to ponder the questions with me. And like, if you disagree with me, cool, I want you to speak on that. Like, if something I say isn't hitting you the way it's hitting me, speak on that. I'm very curious. I like to talk about things like this. This is why I make these videos, because like if I could, I'd yap all day about it. But I make these also as like little journal entries for myself. And you know, it had been a minute, and it's crazy. My homie just hit me up talking about, hey man, when the next video, and that goes to show right there. I never thought in a million years that he would be watching my shit, but he was, and that truly goes to show like you never know when you are actually being authentically you and pushing out a message that you truly believe in and value. You never know who you're reaching with that. So stop trying to be like stop trying to be a carbon copy of the next person. Like, just be you. Just appreciate you. Be uniquely you. And don't apologize for it. Like, damn, man. It's too many young individuals out here. Younger than me. I'm only 21, so I'm not old. Let me just make that clear. But it's individuals that's younger than me that are allowing themselves to be influenced by the numbers. And I feel like that is just children at the end of the day. Children are very influential, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like that's not a fact. But at the same time, it's also because of what we put out there. As like the adults, you know, it is our job to make sure the ones after us are set up with the right information. They're given the right lessons. They're given the right skills, techniques to be able to like flourish. And I feel like content creation nowadays is more or less just telling them to be a stupid individual, just a degenerate pretty much. And there's no real value in that. So with these videos, I like to question not only myself but also other people. And excuse me, when I saw that crowd both in Atlanta and New York, it just made me think like, wow, like how influential numbers are. Not even the person, just numbers. Just seeing so many people at this place and you're like, damn, I'm gonna go too. Why are you going? You've never posted a lick of content. You're so worried about missing out that you're willing to be a fool for the fool. And I'm not calling this is not calling anyone an actual fool here, but I'm saying like the jester is the one who entertains us. That is the jester's job. If you want to be a jester, that's great, but don't be a jester because you see a bunch of other people walking and talking and acting like one. You see what I'm saying? Be one because you authentically want to be one. So yeah, this one felt more direct because I just been seeing a lot of clips about it online. And honestly, I think that's a sign I need to just take a break from social media, which is cool, but I still want to be posting this content creation stuff. So yeah, with these, just be honest with yourself, man. I know I said that before. I said it in the last video, and I'm gonna say it again. Be honest with yourself. Like, is this what you want? To be a fool for the fool.